Joining me right now is Arizona Congresswoman, House Judiciary Committee and House Homeland Security Committee member Debbie Lesko. Congresswoman, it's great to see you this morning. Thanks very much for joining us. Can you walk us through where the barriers are? Where are the things that the two sides disagree on police reform?
Yeah, thank you, Maria. I told Representative Karen Bass, a Democrat that's really leading the Democrat House bill, that there are portions of her bill that I could support, that Republicans could support, that President Trump could support. Unfortunately, there's several areas that law enforcement officers have told us would totally undermine their ability to protect communities. One is taking away their qualified immunity so that individual police officers could more easily be sued by citizens. Another one is totally outright banning chokeholds and carotid holds, which sometimes is the last resort before a police officer shoots someone. So when I talked to different law enforcement, they said if you take away that option, then their only resort in some instances is to actually shoot and kill the person, which is the opposite of what you want done. Another thing that the Democrat bill does is say that any military surplus that these law enforcement agencies get now for free or very low cost, they ban that. And I talked to police chiefs in Arizona that said they use some of this military equipment during floods for legitimate services. They don't use it for, going down the road, militarizing things. They use it when there's flash floods, when they have to clear roads and those type of things. And I am hopeful that we can get together because this is such an important issue. And the Democrats didn't talk to the Republicans about this House bill. So I'm hopeful we can get something done.
Well, I asked A.G. Barr about the immunity, the qualified immunity, and he said, look, if you don't have qualified immunity for the cops, you're going to get fewer and fewer people who sign on to become a police officer because they're going to see much more risk if they don't have the qualified immunity. So I understand that point that you make. Let me bring Steve Forbes in. Go ahead, Steve.
Congresswoman, in terms of qualified immunity, we know we don't want a bunch of faceless lawsuits against police officers, but there have been numerous instances in the past where they've gone over the bounds. The courts have said they've gone over the bounds in certain arrests, and there's no recourse for people in many cases. Is there a way to make some modification without opening the floodgates? To deal with genuine abuses, they've been videoed, some of these abuses.
Yes, Republicans in Judiciary Committee did say they're willing to do reforms to qualified immunity because you're right, there are some cases that were egregious. But just to outright ban it, that's bad. Not only is it bad for recruiting new police officers, but it's also bad because police officers need to make life and death decisions in quick seconds. And they're going to think twice about doing something if they think they're going to be personally sued. So we're open to reforms. We're just not open to outright banning.
Yep. All right. We're going to talk with Kevin McCarthy coming up, the GOP leader. Let me switch gears because an appeals court orders the case against Michael Flynn to be dismissed. Congresswoman, lawyers for the former national security advisor released notes yesterday from the administration transition period, and they showed then President Obama and then Vice President Joe Biden weighed in on investigating Flynn. During my exclusive interview with A.G. Barr, we talked about this, and I asked him about the origins of the investigation that started with one conversation in a London bar. Listen to this.
But is there any evidence that, in fact, it was appropriate to launch an investigation other than a conversation in a bar? I know that George Papadopoulos had a conversation in a bar.
That is the official version of what happened. That comment in a London wine bar was what the basis really was for going forward. And I've said that I thought that was a very slender reed to get law enforcement and intelligence agencies involved in investigating the campaign of one's political opponent.
Congresswoman, as you know, General Flynn was the first to be investigated with any ties to Trump. Then came Carter Page and George Papadopoulos with all the wiretaps and the informants running into them. Your reaction to what took place yesterday?
Well, thank God that the appeals court decided that way. This whole thing stinks. The more and more we find out, these handwritten notes by, we think, Peter Strzok yesterday that were revealed, more and more we see how the Obama administration, James Comey, Peter Strzok, the Vice President Biden seemed to be involved as well as Obama. They were trying to take out President Trump and anyone affiliated with him, and they're still trying to. I mean, Nadler wants to bring in Attorney General Barr. Yesterday he had a whole bunch of people in bashing Attorney General Barr. This whole thing is about political power. The Democrats want to influence the 2020 election. That's what the impeachment was all about. That's what all this stuff is about, and I assume it's going to continue up till the election.
Wow, I think people are really sick and tired of not seeing work get done, and instead it's constant focus on investigating the president. Congresswoman, we'll keep watching. It's good to see you this morning. Thanks so much. Debbie Lesko joining us there.